Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Doing something a little bit different today, but it's a video that you don't have to watch, which is great because you can get on with your cooking and your cleaning and your packing or anything you're doing. You can watch if you want, like I'm just going to be sitting here doing this, but you can also just listen, which I kind of love on YouTube. I'm going to be doing a Q&A today. I asked actually on YouTube on the little community tab to ask me some questions, and I haven't really done this in a while. Not going to lie, there were so many questions about parenting and kids. It's just one of those topics that people always want to know about. I think because when you're in it, it's like all you can really think about is such an engaged community, the kind of parenting mummy community. So whenever I do these things, I get a lot of questions about parenting. There is a mix of questions. I've screenshot them. I have not thought about my answers. I never really do, which I'm not sure if it is a good thing or not. Haven't really prepared. So let's see what happens. But I thought I could sit here, got my coffee, and let's just catch up and chat. Right, there aren't really any light questions, so let's just get in there with the first one, which is quite deep. What do you do when you're finding a really old friendship is fizzling out? You have so much history, but neither party makes the effort to see each other much anymore. I mean, I think a friendship fizzle out is the best kind of way to end a friendship. Like if it happens, if the fizzle is natural on both parties, happy days, because no one really gets hurt and nothing's permanent. Like I do think there is always going to be times in like a long-term friendship where you don't feel as close and your lives are maybe in different places. And sometimes that does just fizzle out. And I think if both people in the friendship are wanting the fizzle, just let it happen. It doesn't mean it's permanent. It doesn't mean it's forever. You might come back together. I know someone who fizzled out a friendship. Someone they'd known their whole life. It fizzled out. They didn't even go to each other's weddings. And then now they've both had babies at the same time and they live near each other and they've totally reconnected. Like how nice is that? I think as long as you're kind and respectful during the fizzle phase, then it has potential to, come back one day. I think if one person wants a friendship to end and the other person doesn't or isn't aware of it, that is a totally different ballgame and needs to be handled really differently. And you cannot create a fizzle if the fizzle isn't happening on the other side. You can't just stop talking to someone and hope they get the hint. That is a disrespectful way to end a friendship. So I think if you're both fizzling, my answer to that is let it happen. Always know you're probably going to love each other and have a piece of each other's hearts. And maybe one day you might reconnect, but that's fine if it's not right for you guys for now. Can you talk about what your decision process was, if any, in choosing whether or not to have a third kid? It's weighing on me lately and would love to hear another mum's perspective. And there were a few replies to this one being like, yes, me too, I want that one. It's tricky, isn't it? It's such a personal thing. I don't really mind being vulnerable though and opening up online. I don't think. Sometimes I think I'm too much of an oversharer, but let's see. I'll watch it back in the edit and decide if I'm keeping this in or not. Let me start this question by acknowledging that I am aware of how lucky I am to even be considering it. Like the fact that who knows? You actually never really know, but I've managed to conceive, carry, give birth twice. So it isn't a worry of mine whether I could do that again. And I'm incredibly grateful for how lucky. I know so many people that are not in that position. So let's start by saying that, the fact that I can even consider it, I'm very lucky. And I'm also very lucky and privileged that I can consider it from a kind of financial point of view. Although I would say that comes into it. I do think that a lot of people just don't really think about a lot of the things I think about. I think it's a type A, type B personality situation. Most of my friends who have had 3 kids, they have not written pros and cons lists and really thought much about it other than, I want 3 and we'll deal with it no matter what. Whereas that's just not in my personality. I'm a planner, I'm an overthinker, I'm a warrior. I come from a Jewish family and it's very common in the way that we're brought up to want to have big families, to want to make more babies, and it's very much part of our culture. So I'm very much used to having quite a big family, lots of cousins. Rich, who isn't Jewish, but he also happens to come from a family with 3 kids. So it's very normal to us. So when I think about, and I've mentioned this before, when I think about the future and having grown-up children, I can really imagine having 3. And I can't really imagine it any other way. When one of my sisters is annoying me, I've got another one to talk to. I've always got options, and I love that. And it scares me that my kids won't have that. The thing is I did write a pros and cons list, and the reasons for having 3 all seem to be kind of based on fear. Let me see if I can find my pros and cons list. I'm not going to read it all out to you, but I did read it to a friend and she thought it was hilarious. Oh, it's called 3 Kids, question mark, question mark, question mark. Oh, wow. It's got like columns and everything. The pros all feel very long term and the cons all feel very short term. But I think it's how do those short term things affect you in the long term? Does that even make sense? The cons of having 3 kids. Having less time to give each child, like schoolwork, emotional support, one-on-one time. I think that's genuinely a thing. Like at the moment, we've got 1 each. If I had a 2-year-old running around, I definitely wouldn't be able to give Gray the support that she might need if she was like struggling in school. Someone gets left out along the way. Again, I know these things are just like, I'm an overthinker. Cons, more pressure to earn. Like, yeah, it's a lot more expensive having 3 kids, less money for enjoying life and holidays and weekend trips and doing fun things, which sounds really materialistic, but it really matters to us because those are the things, you know, when you guys are asking me for like relationship advice, it's those things that keep us close and make us happy. We really enjoy going on holiday, doing fun days out. We're quite doers. So we want to be in that position where we can do those things, much less likely to get childcare. I do think it also makes a difference what situation you're in. Yes, I have a big family, but I don't have much support with childcare. We just don't. My parents are in their 70s. Richard's parents live in Suffolk. Some of my friends have like mother-in-laws or parents who will always have sleepovers, will always have the kids, and we just don't have that. And I think that would take a toll on our relationship, that would never be able to go out or like go away for the weekend or do anything. It would be much harder. It's so much harder for someone to look after 3 kids than it is 2. I mean, the pros are like amazing, creating a bigger support system for our kids and grandkids and more aunties and uncles and cousins. And I love all of that. Giving more freedom to the kids to do their own thing, like travel, live where they want without like leaving the other one on their own. A less intense or competitive relationship between siblings. I mean, that was a big one for me. I think that the thought of having 2 kids feels so weird to me. Like it feels like it's quite intense. Like, will they be competitive? Will they be? They're either. I feel like 2 siblings. When I look around at other families that have 2 older kids, they're either incredibly close, like really close, or hate each other. It just feels way more intense. I feel like having a 3rd just like chills the dynamic a bit. Oh, one of my pros is we make great kids. That's just like a heart thing. Like we make really good kids. I'd love to make another one because they're just wonderful. But that's not a good enough reason. And then the final pro, oh my God, wait, there's so many cons. We might be more stressed and tired and therefore not be as good parents. Feeling isolated and alone while everyone else has older kids and they have their life back. That's really hard. Like going back to the young kid thing when you're finally getting your life back. That's really tricky. And I've seen people struggle with that. Again, it's a short-term problem, but it can really affect you long term. And like work-wise for me, that is really tricky. Oh God, I've written here, I don't think I'm a good enough mum in terms of patience, selfishness, being young and fit enough. I think, yeah, like I am more of a stressy person. And I think with having 2 kids, I'm able to be a really good mum. But I don't know if I would be able to do that with 3 kids and a job. Our final pro, which is quite sweet, is just adding more love and happiness to our life. This is quite a deep Q&A, isn't it? While you're doing your washing up or you're doing your makeup. I watch other people's and they're like so laid back. I get really intense questions. What's the number one element about your job, like content creator, self-employed, yourself as a brand, etc., that would surprise someone who is not in the industry? Like when you tell someone about it, they're genuinely surprised. Oh, that's a really good question. Oh man, I don't even know if I know the answer to that. If I think of anything better, I'll mention it in one of my future vlogs. I mean, I guess something that's maybe not so much anymore, but for a long time. And actually, I think if I talk to someone who's not in the industry, people are just surprised that we can like make good money out of this job. Like you see so many people doing it and it looks so like frivolous and silly. The first question is always like, and it's full time, like you make money from that. So yeah, I think it's quite surprising to people, like how much money content creators can make if they're good at it, and the potential. And if you're in the industry, you understand it, but a lot of people still don't really understand it. What else is surprising about my job? I think how much like work goes into it. I don't think anyone actually knows. I think unless you sat in a room with someone and watched them create a piece of content from start to finish, you wouldn't really know how much work goes into it. If I think of anything else, I'll add it into another vlog. What relationship advice would you give your daughter if she were older? Oh, are we talking like love relationship? I think being honest is super important. Like, don't assume someone can read your mind. Being honest goes a really long way, and not like reacting in the moment. I just think like reacting in a moment in an argument, I've never been like a shouty person. I just think nothing good comes of it. If me and Rich ever have a bit of an argument or a moment, I just kind of like take a minute, try to like calm down the situation, and then maybe we like chat about it later. Like, always come back to it, but I just think in the moment when something's heated and stressy, it's just not a good time. It's the same with kids. Like, if a kid's having a tantrum, that is not a time to start like telling them what they should be doing better. Like, they're not going to hear it. It's kind of the same with grown-ups. So honesty, patience, just like communication. I always say it's the most important thing, learning how to talk to each other. I really think the whole love language thing is great. It makes sense to me. Once you know someone's love language, it doesn't mean you can always do that thing, but it means you can see things from their perspective more, and like, you know more what they appreciate. My love language is definitely like acts of service. If Rich empties the dishwasher or gets the suitcases out when we're about to go away, or like preempts something by doing something, that's what I love. It takes the stress out. It means so much to me. I'm definitely acts of service. Rich's words of affirmation and touch, which is actually really different to me. So he loves, if I would like to compliment him on something, that would really surprise him and he'd love that. And he's definitely touch, which is a tricky one because I'm the least touchy person in the world. I blame my family. We don't hug. We don't say love you. We're literally like, my family will get together and we're like, hi. So I really have to try. It's weird because I'm very touchy with my kids. I cuddle my kids and kiss them all the time. I need to try and make sure like I maintain that as they get older, because I'm sure my parents were probably really cuddly and kissy with me when I was younger as well. When did that stop? I don't know. Does anyone have any interesting thoughts on that? So he's touch, words of affirmation. So when I know he's a bit sad or down, I know like he just wants a hug and to be told that he's like great. Whereas like when I'm a bit stressed, he knows he just needs to like do something that's going to take my stress away. It helps. It's a good thing to know, I think. What age was your youngest when you felt like it's getting easier, in the sense that you had more time to yourself? So many questions about this. People are just desperate to know, when does it get easier? And obviously I have to caveat this with like, it does depend on your kids. For some people, it might not ever get easier, and I really appreciate that. And I can only talk from my own experience. I also think having a girl first and then a boy is a certain dynamic. Again, not to generalize, it's different for everyone, but that has kind of set a certain dynamic in our house. When does it feel like it was getting easier? When Rudy was out the stage where he would just run in any direction without any awareness of danger or fear, which was maybe like 3 and a bit. I think somewhere between 3 and 4. But now he's 4. In grade 6, almost 7, it feels like a totally new phase of life. He's in preschool, she's in school. You can have conversations. It's such a lovely stage. And don't get me wrong, I love babies and like toddlers. They're so cute, but this is definitely my favorite stage so far. I just feel like we have a cute little family. We can go on little cool trips, and like we're going to Suffolk this weekend and I'm barely packing anything. It just feels so much easier. It's a really, really lovely stage. I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's something to look forward to. So I think, yeah, when they get to 4 is a good time. How has your relationship evolved over the long time you and Rich have been together? Any tips on keeping connected over time with kids? I mean, I guess I kind of covered this before. I think like any couple, we do have moments where we're like, weeks will go by and we're like, oh God, we have not like connected very well in a while. And then maybe we'll try and organise a date night or something. Or what I really love doing is going out during the day. I don't love going out in the evening. I just think we're tired. Babysitter, it just feels a bit like I love like a day out, even if just a morning. And I actually think it's easier for people to have the kids. Like my parents can have the kids for a couple of hours and we can go to a food market. That is my dream. I think doing stuff together is nice, or just making time in the evening to not just like sit and watch TV, but maybe chat a bit. The older the kids get, the less like stressy situations there are. And we are better when there's not like stressy situations happening. I do feel really lucky with me and Rich. We've always kind of grown together over time. We met when we were 19 and we've just adapted together. So whether it's like moving into a home together, getting married, having kids, we always seem to kind of, and if one person's like a bit further back or a bit further forward, we level out. I don't know if that's something we've like intentionally done or we're just lucky like that. Maybe it's the fact that we're pretty good at communicating. We'll tell each other if we feel a certain way, and we're quite good at like talking quite calmly to each other. But I also think we're both quite easygoing people. I mean, I don't think anyone else would describe me as easygoing, but I'm quite like level-headed. I've been following you for years and I notice so much positive, beautiful changes in your personality. Did you notice these changes? And if you like, would you please share with us what helped you grow and shine beautifully? Yeah, I don't know. I've had a few of things like this. I think there has been a shift. I don't know. Has there? I'd be interested to know if like people who work with me feel that. I can see how my like presence online feels different. I think before kids, I don't know, people used to always describe me as like moaning, complainy, but I never really understood why at the time, to be honest. I think I'm just quite like a realistic, blunt, bit sarcastic person, and that didn't translate online. None of my friends described me as like a negative person, but that was always like my persona online for some reason. And then during kids, I think I just found it really hard in the first few years to show up online. I think I have become a more like positive person. Maybe it's a few things that have come into it. I have become more confident in my like own abilities and my own like what I'm capable of, and not feeling like I have to follow what anyone else is doing. I've just grown up, I guess. Like becoming a mum has maybe given me more confidence. I treat my job now a bit more like a job than I used to, which maybe makes me appreciate it more, so that when I'm doing it, I'm like really enjoying it. I mean, there was years of lockdown as well where everyone, I think, was a bit miserable, and it was just like, it really restricted my creativity, and I just love making content. So being able to like use people like Georgia and go out and film things. And first time me and Georgia met, I was going to make an IGTV series where I went out and about in London. No one even used mics then, and we were like, oh, how would we do it? I don't know. And then lockdown hit, and then it was like years of not being able to make anything cool. So I enjoy the fact that I'm able to make content now that I've always wanted to make but didn't really know how. I don't know, but I appreciate you guys noticing, and I'm glad it comes across that way. How do you manage if followers cross over into real life, so to speak? Example, like school mums or such. I mean, yeah, that is quite awkward, and something I definitely worried about even before having kids. It hasn't really been as bad as I thought, to be honest. I'm a bit like, it's just not something I think about. I go on the school one with no makeup on. I don't really like think about it, but then every now and again something will happen. I'll be like, that was weird. Was that weird? Or am I imagining it? I'm a bit oblivious to stuff like that. When I'm out and about, my friends and family would be like, oh, did you see that person gave you a look? And I'm like, no, I did not see that person give me a look. So I don't really notice things like that, like if it's obvious that someone like watches my content. But I have had moments where I'm like, is that person being... Sometimes I think people are a bit like rude or standoffish. And then I later find out that they're just a bit awkward and shy because maybe they've watched my content. That's also been a case sometimes with teachers as well. Like, it's a bit awkward, and Gray's now getting to the age where like Gray told one of her teachers what I do, and that threw me a bit. Like, as someone who's a bit of a control freak, I find it a bit tricky that it's like out of my control what people know and don't know. And like, obviously the most important thing to me is my kids' safety and privacy and protecting them, and that's the worst part of my job, is that I feel like it makes those things feel a bit like, ooh. But everyone's very friendly. Like, I'm really lucky because I've done this for such a long time and I've got such an engaged audience, and they're like 98% female. Like, whenever I do meet someone who watches my videos, they're always really like lovely. So I don't really have to worry in that sense. It's just, yeah, sometimes it's a bit weird. I don't know what I prefer, if someone knows what I do in the playground or if they ask me what I do. Both feel pretty awkward. I did have someone be like, oh my God, I was on TikTok and I saw you come up on my feed, and I was like, oh, it's so awkward. I've never learned how to talk about it confidently with like pride. Like, I am so proud of what I've done, but when someone asks me what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, it's just like, you know, I really like downplay it. And it's something, when I had a life coach, that I really tried to work on, like how to tell someone what I do for work with confidence, knowing that I've done really well to get here, and to not make it seem like I'm embarrassed of it. How has your relationship to friendship evolved since having kids? You seem to have such wonderful friends. Has it been more difficult to keep them close since having kids? Any tips to non-parent friends to make parent friends' lives easier? I think if you don't have kids and some of your kids... I think if you don't have kids and some of your friends are starting to have kids, patience is the word. The first year or two is a bit of a blur. They're probably either going to become obsessed with being a parent and their kid, and it's all they talk about. No matter how hard you try, they will keep talking about their kid. Or they might like hate it and spiral and just be in a really bad mental place. And either way, just have patience, because it won't be like that forever. You might think, oh my God, I've lost my friend. Who is this person I don't recognize? We've got nothing in common anymore. This is a disaster. But it's not forever. Just hold out, be strong. They might not ask about you all the time, and you might think your friend has turned into this like selfish, crazy person, but it's not forever. It's just a mad, life-changing thing, especially your first. It's really hard to remember who you are, let alone remember to be a good friend. So it's not forever, and you just have to be as patient as you can. In terms of maintaining friendships when you have kids, it is tricky, especially if you're having kids at different times. I think it's harder to be the first one having a kid in a group of friends because your other friends just won't understand. Whereas if your friends already have kids, they know what you've been through. And it's really nice. And it's nice as a friend to be able to like give advice, although some people give way too much advice. That's also like a weird juggling act. You know, you're wanting to help your friend that's just had a baby, but also let them learn themselves as well. Like give them a bit of space to figure it out themselves and wait for them to ask your advice. I think just maintaining those friendships and just checking in, sending the odd voice note, adapting your friendship depending on what that friend needs. If they've just had a baby and they prefer like a rambly voice note while they're walking their baby in the buggy, start doing that for a bit. You know, obviously don't expect them to be the same person as they were before, and it's really tricky, but like I said, it's not forever. It's also hard like assuming your kids will like your friends' kids. Unless you live close to all your friends, it's unlikely they're going to grow up together and be in school together. And it means a lot to me for my best friends' kids to feel like family friends to my kids. Like Gray and Rudy think that Hannah's kids and SJ's kids are like their cousins, which is so nice. And that was really important to me. And it's hard because when kids are little, they just care about their best friend from school. And my kids don't go to school with any of my friends' kids. For example, Gray is spending the day today with SJ and her kids. And it's so important to make the effort to do those things to keep your friends' kids close. So to not get too wrapped up in the school thing and only be friends with the school mums and the kids at school, but to like maintain those friendships and relationships you had before your kids went to school, outside of school, and do those nice things on the weekends so that they have those relationships as well. Any advice on finding yourself again now that you think you're done having children and you're out of the baby stage? I know it stays busy, but how are you trying to make the most out of it? I find it slightly intimidating to think about when I have both kids at school and I'm not a mum of babies or toddlers anymore. I think this also depends like if you work or like what you do for work. I think I'm really lucky because I have a job that's like my own thing, my own career. Like that's something I can put my focus in, and I can like really enjoy doing that while my kids are at school and then really enjoy being with them after school. I can imagine it's really hard if you have given your full-time attention to raising babies and toddlers and then they go to school and then you're like, now what? I think a good place to start is kind of finding those little hobbies that make you feel happy, whether like for me, you know, I've been doing tennis and pottery. I haven't done pottery for ages, but things like tennis, pottery, book clubs, that, you know, starting with things like that, making a bit of a social something outside of like the mummy baby thing, I think is a really nice place to start. Just working out what things you enjoy and trying those and getting back into life a little bit. But like be kind to yourself. It takes a while to find yourself again and work out who you are when you're not just a mum. But it's also fine if you just love being a mum. I love being a mum, and don't put like pressure on yourself to be this new version again. Hi Lily, I really enjoy your videos every Sunday. What other YouTubers would you recommend that have a similar vibe? Really, I find it really hard to find people to watch on YouTube. I've just started watching Hannah Lowther, is that her name? The girl she worked in Tesco's, trained in musical theatre, and then like actually got into musical theatre, and now she's in Legally Blonde. But I'm fascinated by it because she vlogs as well, so you get to like see behind the scenes at like proper musical theatre show, which was like, I say it's my dream. It wasn't like actually my dream. I never actually tried, but like I love musical theatre and singing and stuff, and it's just so fun to watch her vlogging like whilst being in a proper musical production. So I'll link that down below. And actually that was recommended through a girl called Tabitha Amy, I think that's her name, who I've recently started watching. Yeah, Tabitha Amy. Her vlogs are really nice. She's very like pre-kids, pre-marriage. It feels like me in my early 20s, but it's fun. It's kind of like a nice little escape to watch that. I love Helen Anderson's vlogs, and she's gonna start doing this thing where she like converts a camper van. Who else? I've been watching Toast with Hope. Really like her videos. I think that was recommended by you guys. So many of you guys recommended watching her. I watch a lot of podcasts, like video podcasts. Obviously love Luke. Don't know. Who else? Who else do you guys watch? that feel like kind of chilled vlogs, easy to watch. Let me know if you have any recommendations. How do you find the time and headspace to declutter your home of things, makeup, kids' toys, seasonal items? I find with young kids, if I have some time after cooking, feeding, work, playtime, I generally just want to relax at the end of the day. So the clutter at home keeps accumulating. Love your content. Thank you. I'm the same. I would never do that in an evening. By the time I've worked all day, done dinner, done like 5 million different desserts, bathed the kids, read stories, put them to bed. Oh my God, I get down at like 8 o'clock. I'm exhausted. There's no way that's happening then. The only way decluttering happens if it's a sunny weekend or like a nice weekend and we're at home, we have no plans and the kids are playing. And I actually feel like when I get on with stuff like that, if I start like decluttering a cupboard, something about me getting on with stuff makes the kids kind of play independently more. I think if I'm just sitting around, they kind of like nag me and like want me to do stuff. But if I'm just getting on with stuff, they kind of get on with stuff too. I've noticed that's a bit of a pattern. It helps me because it keeps me doing it because I'm surrounded by people. If I'm on my own, I'll get bored and distracted. So there's people around, so I have the momentum to do it and they can just play. That's kind of what works for me. Like no one is decluttering at 9 p.m. Don't worry, that is crazy. I've moved jobs to one that is fully remote and work from home. I'm struggling with staying motivated. Any tips for how to stay motivated at home and productive on days where you're on the computer all day? Ugh. Same, it's the worst. I didn't mean to like do this job, as you guys know, you know my journey from the beginning, and it is not good for me. Like I get energy from other people. I love the flexibility of being from home and being my own boss and going in and out as I please, but I don't like being on my own. I find it really hard. So I feel you there. I mean, obviously there's the option sometimes to like work from like a cafe or something every now and again, or just trying to like break up the day, I think works for me. Like I could do like a couple of hours in the morning. If I've got a plan, I tend to write like a to-do list like the night before because I'm a bit more of a night owl. So my brain is going at night. So I'll write myself a to-do list. And then I wake up in the morning and crack on and I'll get like a good couple of hours done. This is like if I had a whole day working from home, this would be ideal. I don't do this, but I should. Couple of hours just getting stuff done. And then maybe go downstairs, make a coffee, set yourself a little routine where it's like, oh, 10:30 coffee, something to look forward to. Get up, stretch your legs. So important not to just sit all day. Break your day up into like chunks. Go downstairs, make a coffee, come upstairs, do another little bit of work. Maybe go for a walk. Even if you've just got your lunch sorted downstairs, go for a little walk around the block. Maybe if you find it harder to concentrate in the afternoons, which I do, you can go and work from a cafe for a bit. Like I think just trying to like block out your day so it's not just, right, I'm sitting at a computer all day on my own. That is really hard. If you know anyone else that works for themselves, maybe you could like have a little check-in with them. Some people, which is wild, like have someone on Zoom who's also just working and you're just working and you're sitting there in silence, but like having someone there like holds you accountable a bit and makes you feel less alone. That's quite interesting. Those are my tips, but I feel you. It's the worst. Loving your content as always. Thank you. I feel that you're more relaxed than years ago. See? What is this? I don't know. How have your mental health and the way that you take things personally as you grow older? In my case, I try not to waste time on people, things that are not worthy, and my priorities have totally changed since having a daughter. You? Have a great Easter holidays. You too. Yeah, I mean, that does change as you get older, and I think that's helped me in terms of like doing this job on the internet. I definitely feel like as I get older, I don't take it as personally when someone who I don't know has a negative opinion of me. Don't get particularly offended if someone leaves me an angry comment or like tells me I'm ugly or something. I don't have value in that. I do find it a bit harder when like a viewer who feels like someone they've watched me in years is like disappointed in me. I would feel sad about that. But general like negativity from people who don't know me, that's fine. I do, however, think that I am getting more sensitive as I get older to people I know having a negative opinion of me. I don't know. It's a weird part of my personality, I think, where I think people think I'm this like super confident, strong person. The amount of times people said like, oh my God, I was so scared of you when I first met you. Like, I definitely get it from my dad. I don't give much away, I think, with my facial expressions, and people think I am confident, but I will leave a situation and think, I think I've offended that person. I think that person doesn't like me. And the older I get, I'm finding that really hard. I have the confidence and assertiveness of someone who is successful and maybe like a bit more of like a red personality. I don't know if you know about the different color personalities, but a lot of those type of people don't really give a crap what people think of them, which is why they probably become very successful. Whereas I have traits of that, but I care so much what people think of me. Not strangers, but people I know. And I find that struggle really hard. I'm constantly paranoid that I'm like difficult to work with, or like, did that person not like me, or did I offend that person, or like why? And I that consumes so much of me. Whereas I think most people who worry about people liking them and offending people are normally very sweet, gentle, timid people. So I've seemed to have a mix of both of those things, and they don't go well together, in my opinion. Like, you can't be a very confident, assertive, strong-willed, strong-minded person and worry about offending people and what they think of you. Oh, it's just really, I find it conflicting often. I am more relaxed, and I think my mental health is better. I do think that's from having kids. I think my priorities have just changed, and I just know that my kids are my most important thing, and at the end of the day I get to like be with them, and it just puts things into perspective a bit. I have better boundaries. I definitely think with age comes a different kind of confidence, but that's not to say that other insecurities don't start popping up along the way. How do you make your long distance friendships work? My closest school friend moved to Australia 6 years ago. We've tried emails, letters, Zoom over the years, but none seem to properly stick. Both of us have kids, and it's so expensive to travel to see each other, so that isn't an option. Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. I'm so sorry. I wish I had something like positive to say about it, but I absolutely hate it. Keisha lives in Jamaica. Jake is constantly traveling the world. Hannah lived in Australia for a few years, now lives near Birmingham. So I do understand. I'm lucky that all of those people I've known my entire life. So it does take the pressure off. Me and Keisha are really quite crap at speaking to each other. But then when we speak to each other, it's literally like no time has passed at all. We'll just like, we don't even say hi. We just start talking mid-chat. And she does come back quite often for work. So I'm really lucky with that. When Hannah was in Australia, it was an absolute nightmare with time difference. Can't stand when people move to Australia. It's so far. Time difference is a nightmare. And Jake, like, we just connect when he's back from work. It's so hard. It's just, nothing is the same. You can do the Zooms, you can have FaceTime like dates where you eat dinner together over FaceTime. You can do all those things. Hannah's only 3 hours up the road, and it feels like she's on the other side of the world. I can't stand it, because for me, a friendship is so important to be able to like pop over to someone's house, to drop some soup over when they're unwell, to like catch up for a coffee after the school run. And it just absolutely breaks my heart that I don't get to do that with some of my bestest friends all the time. It makes me so angry. I literally texted Hannah last week and I'm like, I'm really sorry, but my brain hates you this week for no rational reason at all. It just really annoys me that I have to spend so much time with these mums at school and no time with you. I hate it. We have one life and we're not spending it together. Oh, it makes me want to cry thinking about it. But it's life. You can't do anything about it. You just have to keep trying. If the friendship is worth it, you put in the effort to catch up, and it's not the same. Talking to someone on the phone is not the same, but you can like only do your best. So I'm really sorry I haven't got any good advice there. I hate it. As the person who hasn't moved away, I just hate it. Would you go back to working for someone else? I saw some full-time creators who are now getting structured traditional jobs, even in creative areas. I mean, at this point in time, it would make no sense to do something like that, because I'm in a really good point of my career. But it's definitely something I would like look to do, mainly because I just really enjoy working with other people. I could see myself being like a producer for content for like YouTube series, not something that I'm in, but like being behind the scenes helping to produce that. I think I'd really enjoy doing that, and it is something I want to like dip my toes in a little bit, but it's just hard to find the time to experiment with other stuff when you've got like so much already on your plate. But I would definitely enjoy doing that. I do often think, like back in the day, I would say 7 years ago, no wait, I had Grace 7 years ago. 10 years ago, I had a confidence about me where I used to say, do you know what, if I get cancelled next week, or if YouTube closes, I had the confidence that I could go and get a job in like marketing, something creative. I have the skills, I have the experience, like I'll be fine. And I have to say, the older I get, that confidence is dipping a bit, mainly because I feel like I've been out of the businessy side of things for so long. As the creator, you're kept quite shielded from the business side of like influencers. I know it's all smoke and mirrors, and when you go into a meeting with 20 people, I know that all the jargon is just BS. Like, so many people are just saying words that mean nothing but sounds impressive. But something I've always struggled with is I'm not really good at the BS. I'm a very like honest person, and I don't like to wing it, but lots of other people do, and it knocks my confidence a bit. Like the thought of being in a big meeting with loads of people who are saying loads of technical terms and I don't know what they're talking about, or like I wouldn't know how to like make a report, when actually I don't think any of those things are that valuable or important. That I think the older I get, I feel less confident in my abilities. If I'm honest. That's just like a very honest answer. Who is your dream Foggy Mornings guest? Probably someone like Stacey Solomon, who I think I'd get on really well with, and she's got like a really cool house and I just think she'd bring good vibes. Or a Spice Girl. Which Spice Girl? I mean, I'll take any of them. Any Spice Girl. Do you take the children to church or synagogue around Easter and Christmas? I mean, you wouldn't take someone to synagogue for Easter or Christmas, but I think I know what you mean. It's actually Passover at the same time as Easter. I'm really interested in people's relationship with faith, especially as parents. Me and Rich, neither of us are religious. Rich is technically Christian, but has never like done anything religious. So I think when you live in this country, most people acknowledge Easter and do Easter egg hunts as kids. Like even I did, even though I come from a Jewish family, like, yeah, we do Easter egg hunts and stuff with the kids, but no, Rich does not come from a religious family at all, so no church. I am Jewish, but the thing that's a bit weird about Jewish religion is that although it is a religion, it's a race as well. You are Jewish from your DNA. So you can be Jewish and not be religious. And I would say I'm not religious. I've mentioned this before. My dad was brought up very religious and didn't really like that he was kind of forced to do the stuff that he thought was really boring. So he didn't bring us up in a religious way, but we're very culturally Jewish. But it is important to me to teach my kids the story of Passover and the Jewish stories, because it's very much about like heritage and respect for like ancestors. And it's not a religious thing. We don't do the Hebrew prayers, but we'll tell the stories, and I think that makes sense. The Jewish thing is hard to explain because it's definitely more of a race and a culture than like a religion. So even if you don't go to synagogue, you can still be like very Jewish. I saw you commented on Katie Pix's video about sharing children online. Curious to know your take. So that was a video that Katie posted where she wasn't sure if she was going to share her baby's face online. And for me, it's not so much a case of, oh, but they haven't given you permission. It's more just like a safety thing. I think I don't feel comfortable with my kids' faces being like really recognizable. If they're like, you know, Gray's at a soft play today with a friend and I'm not there. And if someone came up to her and was like, oh my God, Gray, you're Lily Pebbles' daughter, she wouldn't really understand what that meant. And it's hard enough to teach kids what a stranger danger is. So that just confuses things. And to be honest, that's my main reason. I also think now with AI, like having my kids' faces all over the internet makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable where those like images could go. So that's my reasoning. I think it's really easy when you have kids as a content creator to get very wrapped up in wanting to talk more about that and show them. And I've been through it now, so I know how it feels. I cannot tell you from our side of things. I mean, you can even see from this Q&A, it's without a doubt the most like engaged community online, like mums, parents. So when you have kids, what happens as a content creator is suddenly your engagement skyrockets. All of your DMs are filled with, every time you talk about anything to do with motherhood, your DMs are filled with replies. It's the most like engaged content you can ever post. Not to say that it's the majority of your audience though. It feels like it. It feels like, wow, all of my audience are so interested in me talking about baby stuff. It's not. It's actually a minority of your audience, but it feels really engaging. So I think a lot of people get really swept up in that and they think, do you know what? I'm going to talk more about like having a baby because every time I talk about my baby, I get so many amazing replies. And then I think what happens is your kid gets to 3-4, they go to school and suddenly you don't really want to talk about babies anymore, but that's all you've spoken about for the past few years. So your audience has shifted. And suddenly all your audience care about is you talking about baby stuff, but then you're out of that phase and you don't want to talk about that anymore. And you've got to shift back somehow to talking about like lifestyle stuff. And so I was really aware of that. Not so much with Gray. With Gray, I just found the first 2 years, I was like, there's nothing else to talk about because I'm not getting dressed or wearing makeup. But with Rudy, I definitely thought, try to remind myself, like, yes, people are really engaged, but it's not the majority of your audience. It's a small group of people who are going through the same thing. And I love it. And it's so nice that the parenting motherhood community is so strong, but it's not I don't want to forever be talking about babies because I won't have babies forever. I've noticed with other creators, it is quite hard to not get like swept up in that. How do you find the school mums? I feel like it's a bit difficult. I'd like to hear how your experience has been. The school mum thing is, it is quite wild. Especially I can imagine if you're not really a sociable person, the whole thing being a little bit intimidating. My advice would be just be kind and friendly to everyone. If you feel really super nervous about the whole playground dynamic, just find like one person that you feel comfortable with and like attach yourself to that person. But don't feel like you have to get like so involved in all the whole like WhatsApp group thing. And just know that most people feel the same as you. I think everyone feels a bit intimidated about the whole thing, that you get little cliques in the playground. I try to not get involved in that. I kind of try to just talk to everyone. I've got a lot of friends outside of school, so I don't really feel like I need to like socialise a lot with school mums on the weekend. I just keep it quite like neutral. Hi Lily, long time viewer. Thanks. First time questioner here. How do you see AI impacting your work? Outside of Gen AI content, I don't know what that is, others might be posting, are you getting pressure to use AI tools to be more efficient or anything? I'm in the IT field, so things are looking grim here. Just curious how it looks, your angle. I haven't really thought much about it. I'm very much a millennial. I use AI. I would like occasionally use ChatGPT to like support me with like maybe planning something, or I use it a little bit like Google if I have a question. I think another way in which I use AI is to create captions for my videos. So things like that are super handy because it will just like automatically generate like subtitles for my reels. So that's great. Other than that, I don't think I use it much, and I probably should. I probably could utilize it more from like an organization planning point of view, because I use like Notion and stuff, and I reckon I could integrate it there, but I haven't really had the time to think about it. And then I don't really use it for much else, and I'm sure lots of people are. I mean, I find the whole like AI influencers thing just weird and doesn't appeal to me and goes against like everything that I think content creating is about. So that is just wild, but I don't think it could replace this ever. This is the last question. What's the age gap between Gray and Rudy? And would you say it's a good gap, both for you as the pregnant person and for the age of the kids? I love your content so much. I'm 9 months postpartum and your videos are the only ones I've managed to keep up with. Thank you so much and congratulations on having a baby. There is 2.5 years between them, I think. Gray's May, he's November. It's weird because they're actually like 3 school years apart, which feels like loads, but I think it's because he's old for his age and she's young for her age. If it was the other way around, they would have only been 2 school years apart. I can't really get my head around that. 2.5 years, and it felt like a really small gap for my family. My eldest sister, her kids are 4 years apart, and then my other sister, her elder kids are 3 years apart, and then there was like a 7-year age gap between her youngest or something. So it felt quite small for my family. I was a bit nervous. Again, I do think it makes a difference like on your kids. Gray is a girl. She's also a very like chilled. When Gray was 2.5, she was not like Rudy at 2.5. She was not running into roads and things. So that made it a lot more manageable. She was a very calm little girl. So that helped. I think if I'd had Rudy first, I maybe would have waited 6 months to a year for a bigger age gap. But it's so nice because they are so close. It's mad. When I watch them, I just can't believe how close they are. I just didn't have that dynamic with any of my siblings. They're like always playing. I mean, don't get me wrong. They fight so much, like physically, but they're also so close. They role play. It's really sweet because Gray's the older one, she kind of sets the tone, and they play a lot of mummies and babies and shops, which is so nice. But equally, Rudy being the younger, feistier one also gives her confidence in situations as well, where maybe she's a little bit more cautious. He'll be like, come on, Gray, let's go do this. And I love seeing that. He's been so good for her like that. I really love having 2 kids. It's brought so much like joy, and like I can just see their relationship is so important. I really hope they stay close forever. I always think like, how can I encourage that? And I think it's little things like trying to not make them too competitive. We don't say like, who's going to get in the bath first? Who's going to win this? We try not to do that too often because I don't want to encourage like a competitive relationship between them both. I try to talk to them and encourage them to be a team. So if anything, it's like Gray and Rudy against mummy and daddy, because then I'm getting them to work as a team together. And I think little things like that will encourage them to kind of stay close. And I sometimes talk to them about it. I'm like, look, I hope you guys can look after each other when you're older, and like you'll always be there for each other. And I hope they will. But they're super close now, and it's so sweet. I love it so much. Anyway, that is the end of my Q&A. How long have I been filming for? 65 minutes. That will definitely get chopped down, but I think this is going to be a long video. Thank you if you stuck here for the whole thing. Sorry, there are quite a few parenting questions, but the questions came from you guys. Next time I post a thing with questions, if you want there to be some other more varied questions, please do leave me one, because I'm happy to kind of chat about anything. I'm kind of an open book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.